Welcome everybody to Royalty Podcast, our quarantine happy hour number 2. My name is Shara.
I'm T.
Cam.
We got Cam
This is Tasha.
and Crystal. Can't hear you, babe.
Can't hear.
Can y'all hear me now? I
I
had my
can hear
Yes.
mic
you
muted. I'm
now.
sorry. Hey, ladies, this is Crystal. It's good to see you all.
Good to
Yes,
see
welcome
y'all
everyone.
too.
Okay, we'll give a few minutes for everybody to go ahead and join us, and some might be on CPT time, but we are live at 5, right on time today. Glad to be here with y'all. I actually felt pretty good getting dressed and putting some clothes on. It's been a minute. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's see what is everybody drinking right now. I'm drinking some sweet rare wine.
Who's it by?
Um,
Sweet rare wine. This is by Spring Creek.
Okay. I have a little ginseng tea, little detox is, time to get the body right type of thing.
I'm drinking water. Now, if you check back in an hour when Jill Scott and Erica Badu on,
It's gonna be more than water, huh? You're
it's
gonna
gonna
turn
be a little
the
bit more,
water
a
gonna
little
turn
bit
to
more than water.
wine. I'm drinking my melonberry punch, not my melonberry punch. The recipe will be posted later. Um,
No water.
Okay, you drinking water? Okay, so we can start with a few icebreakers while everybody else is getting in. And we're gonna share some of the happy hour recipes. One of my favorites. They sell it at Cheddar's. They only limit you to 2. This is me and Jessica's favorite. It's called a painkiller.
yeah.
I'm a clear
What's
rum
in it?
girl. It has rum in it. It has pineapple juice. It has spice rum. So you would like that, Cam? Spice rum, kind of like that one we tried. Spice rum, little liquor. So it's a little orange juice and some pineapple and a cream in there, and it's really, really, really good.
I have a My favorite is another one we get. Crystal and I get it at this restaurant called Route 66. It's down here, but I think it primarily originated in Natchez, Mississippi. But it's like a little seafood oyster spot,
Okay.
and it's called Blackberry Lemonade. Um, but it has blackberry whiskey lemonade, bourbon lemonade, blackberry bourbon. So it has, of course, bourbon slash whiskey. It has a splash of club soda. It has lemons. It has cane sugar or syrup, or you can just use a lemonade. I use it when I make it at home. I use simply lemonade because I don't like the overly sweetness of it. And it's real simple. It's real smooth, and some crushed blackberries, and it's great.
Okay.
I'm just drinking ginseng tea today. Like I said, I'm trying to detox and get healthy. And so, that no pain, no gain. So I'll be you know, sipping on something like that today. And it's simply just some ginseng tea and um 2 teaspoons of raw honey. Um, you can add a dash of cinnamon or even a splash of lemon juice to give you a little more flavor. But it's something healthy and, like I said, no pain, no gain. So that's my painkiller for right now.
Okay. Sounds good. Cheers, everybody. So
Cheers.
this is a Mother's Day edition. So we want to shout out to all the moms, bonus moms, grandmas, me moms, grandmas, everyone that's a mother and contributes in any type of way. Special shout outs. I want to shout out to my mother, Sylvia Pursley. She
Whoop, whoop.
she's my mom. All five
Ah,
foot two of her. I love her and could chuck her. Love her to death. She like I've said before. I give her flowers all the time. Um, she's a strong woman. She comes from a heritage of nothing but strong women. She's nosy in a very concerning way. She'll get you straight, but she's for right. So you can now. I respect that simple thing for being for right or being on your side or telling you what's right to do the right thing, because it does pay off in that discipline. One of the great lessons that she taught me is everybody's heard it, but it's just different when it hits home. When they show you they are, believe them. A leopard does not change its spots. So that's a very valuable lesson that I got. That she's always said, and just to work hard, and it'll always work out for you. So that's one of the great ones. What about you, Crystal?
My mom is Doris. Hey, Doris. Hey, girl. I'm so grateful for her. She also comes from a very strong background of women. She's always been encouraging, even to the negative, but she's very encouraging. And she has your back. She's always there for you. It doesn't matter who it is. I got my spirit of giving from her. She will share to her last. Her door is always open, literally. Yeah, I don't even know if we have hinges. I think it's more like a turnstile at my parents' house. Because we've had so many people, family members, friends, whatever, to live there when they've fallen on hard times. She's just always been a giving person, a big heart, and she's gonna tell you how it is, straight up
Yeah.
to you. No chase. She's just gonna tell you right to you. Hope you can handle it type of thing. So I love you, Mom. Thank you for all that you've done for me.
What about you, T?
What about you, Tara?
Tasha?
T, mine would be my mother. Like y'all said, like Sherry was saying, she's the rock of the family. She's very nosy, but she's for right. She's for you, and she'll push you and motivate you in ways and give you the strength to keep on pushing. She's always been my support. She gonna support you. She gonna tell if you're wrong, even if you didn't ask. She gonna let you know. But like I said, she's for right. She's always praying for you. She got you in the corner. Um, Yep. So yeah, I would say my mommy, Sylvia. She's short, but whoo, that woman. Woof. Bless my daddy heart. Woof. Woo. What about you, Tasha?
My mom is Lois, and she's a wonderful mom. I always like to say I am who I am because of her. A lot of my demeanor I get from her. But she's pretty much taught me every lesson that I look that I know that I abide by, as far as like practicing my faith, my work ethics, how I handle my finances and business, my relationships with people, all of my core values. She's pretty much poured into me since I was young. So always grateful. She's the best mom in the world. Can.
Hey, I feel that.
Well, as you all know, my mom is Dr. Zorlene Scott.
Woo, woo,
We're so very proud of her.
Hey, hey.
So my mom is definitely, we come from a very strong family of strong women. We were laughing just the other day. My grandmother was very strong, both of them, Irma Lee and Louise. Um, but my mom is compassionate. She's a psychologist, or counselor. And so she's very compassionate. She's very sympathetic. She's always willing to lend an ear. She's super helpful. She's not really nosy. She's not intrusive. That's Larry. So let's talk about him on Father's Day. My mom is real cool, but I always say she a mother bear. Like you get that good side until you mess with her children, and then you're gonna get a whole nother beast of a whole nother monster. So I grew up very protected and very loved, and I always knew she had my back. She was definitely for right. You was not gonna be disrespectful. As long as you were in the right and how she raised you, you was good. But I used to say all the time, if I got arrested on some dumb stuff, leave me in the jail cell, baby. I'm safer there than I would be if you ever come get me. But I appreciate those lessons. I do. It made me a better adult. I see, some people, no judgment, but a lot of this generation and the future generations could appreciate having moms, like real moms like her.
Hey now.
Like Aunt Sylvia and like Mama Williams and Mama Wyatt, those are, we can't do it like they did it. I'm still trying to get there.
Yeah.
And so, one of the lessons that she taught me, or she used to say, was you have all your life to be an adult, but you only have a short while to be a child. So don't rush. And that's one thing I could go back to, because Lord,
Woof.
This adult
Damn.
thing is not for me. I won't be a child again.
Yes,
So
indeed.
that's my mommy. Hey, Darlene, if you're watching.
Okay, everybody shout out.
That's Dr. Dorleen Scott.
Y'all can
Yes,
chat your moms and we'll shout them out.
Hey, Mama. Mhm.
Hey, Jazzy. That's my baby.
My baby, yeah, my baby son. She says Happy Mother's Day. She's in Guam, um,
You
on
know,
the
don't forget me.
USSR. She says she's been cleaning and sanitizing. Yeah. Mhm. Well,
Okay.
Latasha says, "Amen for the real moms."
All right. So speaking of moms, we'll just jump right on into it. Cam, let us know a little something about our hot topic.
Oh, Lord, I don't know if we ready. So it's a good piggyback off of Real Mom. So, in our group's Affirmation of a King, Affirmation of a Queen, we shared a video. And it was of a young lady. And as the video opened up, you got to see a little girl. She might have been around 2 or 3. And she was climbing the pole. And a woman was standing there, coaching her. She was climbing it like you climb a rope. So, it was real cute. And then after she got to a certain point, mom flipped up the pole. And that's when you got to see she had on a G string. And, had a little music playing in the background. I'm gonna see if I can enlarge the picture where y'all can see it, because I don't know if we can get it on there. Um, but let's see if you can kind of see the picture now.
Or go to our page
Yes.
and you can definitely see the whole. Yeah, you can
If
see
you
it.
go to our page, you
You
can
can see it
definitely see
bust
the whole
open.
video. But that was the video, and as she swung around, her daughter was sitting on her. According to Shower, I wouldn't know this because I'm such a good girl, but she was doing a stripper move called the what now, Shower?
Spider.
Oh, okay, the spider. I don't know anything about that. So she was doing a stripper move called the spider. And so, of course, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, the internet was in an uproar about this. So we kind of posted to both groups to say, did y'all think it was inappropriate? Was it just taken too far, out of context? What did y'all really feel? So, Crystal, what did you think about that video?
I have an affinity to strippers or pole dancers. I really didn't have a problem with the actions per se. My biggest issue is the music that was playing in the background. I think we have to be careful about hypersexualizing or, putting children in a position that they're not ready for yet. I think too much television and radio, we're educating kids way too soon about things that they really shouldn't know anything about. You have to be careful about what you post. She looked like a young mom, so it could have been, this could be a learning lesson for her. But, my post of what I said was that I felt it was inappropriate and it was just bad parenting at the time. I just feel like, we all make mistakes, but this is not something that she's going to look at and maybe appreciate so much. It's one of those hindsight situations. I hope for her that she won't, have her young child there listening to Meg. We all love Meg Thee Stallion. She's a beautiful woman, makes beautiful music, but it's just not appropriate for that age. And it's written on the actual um, um, purchase when you buy any of the music. It is explicit. And it was very good.
So that was my take on it too. Yes, the mother was young, um, but the whole set and people want to try to say that it wasn't stripper related or exercising. From my point of view, the whole stage was set up. It had a stripper song and what we call a stripper song in the background. Pole. She had the outfit on. So that was my issue was with the young baby who doesn't know really what's going on, but we have to train them. So as a mom, that was poor taste. Now, if you want to teach her to play on the pole or to dance, I mean, shout out to them. I've tried a few Pilates tech classes, a few stripper. Your core has to be right. So I mean, hats off. No, this is no knock on strippers by any means. They're fine by me, but I just think it was poor in taste as a mother. She could teach her anything else. There's several art forms of dancing, ballet, tumbling, any kind of other exercise. I might have thought it would have been a little different if the music was different, or if the mom was clothed. But to me, she flipped over and she busted open. So it was just tacky, poor taste. Not only that, as a mom, we have to protect our children. So we're in this generation where people tend to do a lot of things for likes, but certain things are just unacceptable. While you're showing that and you getting the attention, that's a pedophile's playground. And I also said she I'm sure she didn't think in that mind, but you have to think as a protector of children, not to expose your children to certain things.
I agree, but I also know that pedophiles, it doesn't matter what your child has on or don't have on. A pedophile is that's a different thought process, and that's completely
That's
different.
true, but I'm not
A
going
child
to
can
hand
be
my
fully
child over to
clothed.
him either.
But like I said, I get that we need to protect our children, but like I said, if a pedophile is a pedophile, that's just a different beast of a different monster. Something you said about if the music was different and if she had on different attire, that was literally the only thing that I saw that was a negative about what was going on. Do I think that she was training her child to be a stripper? No, because if you looked at the interaction between her and her child, there was nothing in it about. I've seen worse with mothers videotaping their children. What do they call it? Twerking, 2-year-olds twerking and 4-year-olds twerking, and dressing their children in adult-like clothing. She had on a tasteful little one-piece, swimsuit or whatever the case may be. I think it was more on she would not have been as attacked, or if she had on workout attire, and if the music wasn't playing. I don't know what she was doing prior to. I don't know if she was teaching a class, teaching something virtually, and her child just happens to come in and she thought, oh, but and then the concept, it does go to, if once you put something out on the internet, you open yourself up for judgment. And that's exactly what happened. Everybody just kind of ran to it and was like, oh, that was bad parenting, bad mothering, X, Y, and Z. And so, her wearing a G-string around her child. I know, we've had the conversation with most of us in the comforts of our own home off camera, where I'm not going to say I walk around in the G-string, but, we walk around in certain levels of comfort. I think it's just
But key word is off camera.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I agree with you. I agree
Yeah.
with you off camera. But what I'm saying is I'm not going to judge her parenting based on and say she's a bad mother based on a snippet of a video.
Okay. And we can respectfully agree to disagree, because
I mean, we are
I
disagreeing.
just
I'm
don't
giving
see
my
it.
point. You gave your point.
Yeah.
So we are, agreeing
Right.
to disagree at this point.
And when I look at,
I just think that it's multiple angles that you can look at this from, and not just be so rushed to make a snap decision.
Well, when we're looking at this video, we were asked, a simple question, appropriate or inappropriate. We don't know her, and we're not basing it off of anything that we know, just what we see. So
Right.
by just what we see, not knowing any background, any foreground, anything about her, we don't even know for sure that she's the mother of that child. I feel like she is, because that child, when the mom said, let go, at first the little girl said, I'm scared. And she said, just let go. And she did, with no problem. So she showed an attitude of trust towards this person. So I don't even know if it was actually her mother. I just feel like it was. The bond between them looks beautiful. It just seemed inappropriate for the music. I've said before, I think also is that, when my mom would clean up on Saturday mornings, right? She'd get up early Saturday morning and she's cleaning up. She has her hair tied in a bonnet. She would tie my hair in a bonnet too. I didn't need the bonnet because I wasn't doing anything but just emulating her. So even, to the point of, you see the little girl in her swimsuit. So, she's walking around and she's dressed like mommy today, So whether it was work or, personal, recreation or whatever the case may be, it wasn't appropriate for the internet, and it definitely wasn't appropriate with Meg playing in the background.
right. And when I look at the video, the first thing I think of is Proverbs 22. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he gets old, he will not depart from it. So whether you're just playing with your child and playing on the pole, they emulate what they see. And so they emulate what they see. So you're teaching them, and exposing them to something, that I think the child was too young for. I think the whole thing is inappropriate. We can look at it and say, okay, well, she was doing exercise. Sometimes you just have to call a spade and say what it is. She's on a stripper pole with a toddler, you know, emulating stripper dances and stuff like that. So it's just inappropriate to me. Um,
And I
you know,
get that. I get everybody's point. I never said that the video was not
yeah,
inappropriate. I never said the attire wasn't appropriate.
yeah,
Wasn't inappropriate. I never said the music wasn't inappropriate. It definitely would not have been my taste with my
yeah,
child.
mhm,
But here's the thing. What I do understand is I know that you have a lot of women who are professional, so to speak,
mhm,
and set way worse examples for their children.
yeah, mhm,
I see the ones that are on camera, the way they
yeah,
talk to their children. And so
yeah,
what I'm gonna say is, if I'm gonna speak to someone's mothering skills, that's the only thing I was speaking to was
mhm,
the interaction, or if she was the mother, her
right,
interaction with her child on a mothering level. The rest of the stuff was just inappropriate. And like I think Crystal made a point to say it was a teachable moment, but
mhm,
to basically say, "Oh, her child gonna be on stripper pole," or that's you don't you don't know that because I
mhm,
know a lot of girls that hit the stripper pole who parents are doctors.
mhm, yeah. We do have a comment from Oralua. He says we also have to understand the interests of a child in ways of their thinking process to certain situations.
Yeah, that's true.
And I would say you would never know what the turnout is gonna be. Like you don't know if they're gonna look back, if that child's gonna look back and say, um, my mom crazy for doing that. I never do that again. Or she's gonna look back and, become a stripper. You never know. I just remember when I was in high school. It's not totally the same thing, but I remember when I was in high school, I was on a dance team, and right around my junior senior year, it was this new style of uniform that came out. It was a little two-piece uniform, like the crop, midriff halter top with a little bitty skirt and the bloomers,
Mhm,
and that's what we wanted. So we picked it out. Our advisor approved it. The school ordered it. Our parents paid for it. But the first time we came out in those uniforms, it was at a football game, and the parents and the adults at the game were outraged. They called the school. They complained. They said girls should not be wearing stuff like that. And
mhm,
now looking back, I'm like, at that time we just figured it was a costume, and I figured because the lady in the video, she decided to record it and to post it. She was putting on a show. So to her, maybe she considered it to be her costume and just for the performance. Because like in school, we weren't just walking around school with it. We just had it on for the performance. And now that I'm an adult looking back, like I can't stand to wear a midriff crop top. So
mhm,
it just depends. And I don't necessarily disagree with everybody. I'm not really defending her, but that's just a different perspective.
Right, and that's what we're
Right.
here for. So, right up. So let me ask y'all this. We asked the same. There was another article that we posted, and we got everyone's kind of both groups' opinion on it. When it said that Black women are raising the type of men that they complain about, as in they're raising their sons to be, the very men who can't take care of themselves or user this, and that. So I guess my question is to take it one step further. We have this polar opposite where, everyone's speaking to this mother, quote unquote, training her child to work a stripper pole, and somebody speaking to a mother raising deadbeat sons. Do you think that the role between a mother raising a son versus raising a daughter is different? Do you think there's a difference in how women raise their daughters versus their sons? Cheryl?
Um, I will say so. Yeah, I know. Growing up, we was always taught and raised. Clean up, stay clean, be clean, be respectful. It's just certain things. Carry yourself like a lady. We couldn't go certain places. We didn't do sleepovers. We didn't spend a night. I know why now. I mean, as a kid, you unaware. Your mom, parents have to protect you. But I do think there is a different raising the kids. Just like they let boys go out and hang out. The main thing with the girl is don't get pregnant. You know, whereas the boy, hey, good job. So it is a double standard. It's scary now because lately, well, not lately, but there has been constant attack on our black men and black males. So it's hard because we do want them to come home. We do want them to have discipline, but we do want them raised, right and lovely as well. But to answer your question, yes, I think men and women are raised differently. Boys are mamas tend to coddle boys. Some moms tend to coddle boys a little bit more, whereas they go ahead and push the girl out and get what she needs to do. So yeah, I agree. There is a difference. I don't know if it's necessarily raising to the men that they dislike or whatever, but I do see the difference in raising, which I'm not opposed to. Some of it is different. You do have to be more stern, with boys and girls. I know my dad was more stern with my brothers versus with us, and my mom was the one who really did the whipping and chastising with us. My dad, I mean, he got the look. That's James Evans, so that was enough for me. What about y'all? Do you think it's a difference in raising?
I definitely think so. I don't have any daughters, but I have a niece. And so, as it pertains to my sons and the conversations that I would have with them, I know when my husband was alive, he actually would have conversations with them, and I would actually encourage him to have man conversations with them.
Okay.
And when I say man conversations, something happened not long ago, and I had to realize that my husband obviously had never had that conversation just because Joshua hadn't reached that age yet. And what it was, he took my car, right? He wanted to drive my car for the day. So he took my car, and I'm an old school traditional kind of woman, by the way. So while he's riding around, I didn't have a problem with that. But when he brought it back, it didn't have gas in it. One of the tires that was low with air already. He didn't put no air in the tire. And he's just started driving, about a year ago. So I chewed him out like, you brought my car back to me. Your father would wash my car on Saturdays and things like that. You brought this car back to me dirty. It didn't have any air in the tire. And I had to realize, well, I had never had that type of conversation with him because he's a boy. His father would have had that kind of conversation. And it may not have even been a conversation, but more of a learned thing that he might have saw his father doing, on Saturdays when he took care of the vehicles or whatever the case may be. I think when it comes to moms, we have conversations with our boys because we want them to treat a woman right. And so we'll teach them all those lessons, how to be gentlemen. And so that's where the coddling kind of falls into, where we're constantly teaching them to, get the groceries and open doors for women. And instead of having the conversations with them about mechanics and, oil changes and things of that nature. When we have
Okay.
young ladies, we teach them how to be, clean and take care of their bodies. And so you have these different kind of conversations where I wouldn't necessarily have that same type of conversation with a young man that I would with a young lady.
Okay. What about you, Tasha?
About you, Tosh?
I think generally when I talk to people or have conversations regarding this, it's like the mothers tend to be a little bit harder on the girls than the boys. But that wasn't my experience growing up. My mom was stern on all of us. I have two brothers. Now my dad was probably a little bit harder on my brothers than he was on me. Actually, I know for sure he was harder on my brothers than he was on me. But I just think that, as a woman, we hold ourselves to a certain standard. We only want our girls to meet that standard or do better or go higher. And we just want to make sure those things are instilled. We can't, necessarily teach a boy how to be a man because we've never been a boy. And I just think that's where the parent household comes in. We need to balance. How about you, Sarah?
Yes, I do think there's kind of like you said, like a double standard with the raising of men and girls and boys in the households, where the girls can kind of do less, let's say, than boys or whatever, and rules are kind of stricter with girls than boys. So yeah, I do agree with that. I don't know if it's necessarily right. I think I was kind of raised like that. But as I get older, I like Cheryl saying, I understand why I was raised like that. I think it was more of you know, what was going on in the world at the time, as well as you know, how our parents reared us. I do have a comment from G. An interesting fact about all of this is the child can be viewed incorrectly outside of the house. However, where was the father's perspective before this was presented to the world? I think this he's talking about the previous video about the stripper.
Well, the funny,
Mhm.
I don't know about the father's perspective because
That was a
it
good
was never
question.
blamed for the play. I do know that overwhelmingly, when we polled it to the Kings group, overwhelmingly the men found it to be inappropriate. They were not. I
Mhm.
think you had one or two men that was more. Not necessarily. Nobody condoned the video. I think that everybody thought that there was a level of inappropriateness to it. Some
Mhm.
people spoke to, which is what I was saying. Some people spoke to more of her mothering, or that she was just a bad example, X, Y, and Z. And other people spoke with to the fact that her dress was in, you know, the way she was dressed was inappropriate, or even just putting your child on the internet. And I think that, you know, that is a conversation. If we're going to talk about protecting children, it's not necessarily what they have on. It's just the fact that does your child really belong on the internet outside of family and friend view only? Because when you put them on the internet, then you are opening them up to whatever they, despite whatever they may have on, there are predators online, you know. And so, overwhelmingly, the men, like I said, men, they had different perspectives, but it was a level of, they felt like the video was inappropriate. Speaking to the topic at hand, many of the men felt like the article was incorrect in that women, you know, raised sons that they, you know, to be a certain way. A lot of men are raised by single mothers.
Single mothers. Yeah.
So every woman doesn't necessarily coddle her son or raise her son to be, you know, um, an unproductive human being, basically. What I will say is, I think one of the kings spoke to it is the balance needed that we don't want to talk about. It's the balance that we need in parenting. It takes a village to raise a child, but if a dang gonna show, you need two parents because those two parents provide balance. Versus, like you say, your mom was hard on you, but your dad was a little bit more lenient to kind of soften those with girls to soften those blows or to make you feel protected or make you feel as if you know you can do it versus your mom may have been a little bit more in teaching mode because she wants you to be an adult, you know, a productive woman, and she wants you to be independent and she wants you to be a strong. It's the same thing. My dad is a girl dad, but he's a boy grandpa, and so I see how he interacts with the boys. The dad that I had, which is a marshmallow,
Mhm.
is a completely different grandpa to the boys than he was as a dad to the girls. But I think it's because, you know, we had those, when they still do, they have that balance. You have a mom that can, you know, provide that emotional and that, you know, love versus a dad who's going to be more strict. And so I think that that is kind of the conversation that's missed when we want to point fingers.
Mhm.
Because whereas moms may have some responsibility for coddling their boys, let's talk about the missing father figure or the missing father that's supposed to be there to pick up that slack and to teach them how to be men. And
Correct.
so we all
It
need
ta-
to work together.
yeah, it takes a village, like you were saying. I agree with that.
Yeah, you know, and the thing is too, I know it's a lot of missing fathers, like biological, in a lot of people's lives. However, there's no shortage of men. And I think that, you know, I'm so grateful when my husband passed away that my children had coaches and mentors, and I allowed those type of men, to be around my boys to continue to pour into them. They still had their grandfather and my brother, um, as men that were close enough, you know, if it's something that they didn't want to discuss with me. But, you know, oftentimes when our young men are playing sports and things like that, you know, if you trust that coach or a male teacher or what have you. So there are still men out there to help kind of guide them along the way. I think a lot of times as women, we need to get out of the way of that. You know, you see a man, you know, kind of talking rough to your son, but he can handle it. You can't, get in the way when you've asked this man, hey, I need you to step in and have a conversation with my son. And then when he's having the conversation, you want to change it to go into your own words. Well, if that was the case, you could have just said what
Right.
you wanted to say in the first place. A
Yeah.
lot of times as women, we want to step in and get in the way of things when it comes
When
to our
that tough
boys.
love is needed.
Yeah,
Hmm.
when tough love is needed, let it happen. Let it happen. They're not going to hurt them physically, unless
Yeah.
unless there's something going on that's inappropriate. But that's where you, as a mother, have to make the decision. Um, I kind of agree with the men that this article wasn't completely true to my liking, but I just feel like, I guess for me, I was the tough mom. My husband was actually the one that didn't spank the kids, and I was the one that issued out the ass whippings. You hear me? I handed them out. I ain't spare no ride, but I do have spoiled children, so I don't know how that works. But speaking of that, if you guys want to go into our next topic, which
Yeah.
kind of deals with the same thing with parenting. We posted this image that someone had, and it said, this woman said that if her child or her spouse was needed a ventilator, due to this COVID situation, that she would choose the spouse over the child. And so we had a lot of men and a lot of women weighing in on that. And the men really stuck with one thing. I think we only had like one king to kind of say something a little different, and his opinion was that he would have the adult, his wife. He would choose, the wife if it was that case, to be on the ventilator and not the child, based off the fact that the child is going to be stronger to be able to make it through. But not only that, if he could always make another child. That he has this spouse, she chose him, he chose her, and so he didn't want to start again. He could always have another child. Having a child, I think was his quote. Having a child isn't the end all be all in a relationship.
Yeah.
So that shocked a lot of folks, and he had some backlash on it with some men talking. But the overall consensus on the men on the king's side was that they would choose to have their child take the ventilator over them. What do you guys think about it, Tasha? What do you think about that?
This one was so hard for me. I don't have a husband or a child, so I don't know how you choose. I know some people believe that your spouse comes first, or if it's a woman and it comes to her husband, then the husband is the head of the family. And then some people say, well, the child is more vulnerable and they have more time to live. That's a really hard decision. I would probably have to factor in so many things. What do the doctors say? What do the nurses say? What does the medicine say? And what are the chances? That's a really hard decision. To make a blanket statement to say I would choose one over the other, I couldn't commit to that.
Sharon, what you think?
Right off the bat, I said the kid. I would definitely give the ventilator to the kid. So I would, if it was me on a ventilator, I would, and it was a choice to put or who to put on, I would definitely sacrifice my life for my child. More in the sense that I've lived, and seen and experienced more. I know one of the kings was adamant. I finally found a good spouse and that I can connect with. You can always replace a child. In my opinion, you can never replace a child. They have their own lane, their own role. You can have another child, but you can't, replace them to fill that void. That void is still going to be there because they're gone. So yeah, definitely, most definitely, I wouldn't even take 2 seconds to think about it. Give them, I would
That
selflessly
king
give
doesn't
them
have
the
kids
ventilator.
too, by the way. Just
He doesn't
and
have
that person
kids,
he doesn't have kids either. So just make
right?
sure.
That's
I
right.
don't have children either, but I'm a lover of children, and I know about some situations that happened where the son died versus the father, and the father, kind of questioned, and would have rather the son, be the rather himself be the one that passed versus the son because he was the older for his age wise. So, and I can understand that whole point. But yeah. So what about you? What would you do? Would you tell the spouse, Cam?
That would be a decision that we will unanimously make together, and it would probably be no, it's not even a problem. It would be our child because I wouldn't marry anybody who would make any other decision than I would make, and it's always going to be our children. I do agree that you and your husband are supposed to be one, and as one, we will make the decision that we had children, and it is our joy and our gift to protect those children in any way that we can possibly protect them. And if this is what is needed, then yeah, we will both sacrifice our life for our child. And so it would not even be a question. I think that in this scenario, the woman was selfish. It wasn't about the child or the husband. It was about her. Because her post said, my child can't help me grieve the loss of my spouse.
That's
Yeah.
what she said.
I try not to judge, but I'm all tea, all judge, all shade. Child, get a life. Like you don't need to procreate. It's certain people in this world that I just believe don't need to have children. Period. And she would be one of them. So because when you have a child, you can't operate in that same level of selfishness that you could as a single person versus a married person. If you want that level of selfishness, I think that you should remain single because you don't have any kind of consideration for anybody else, single or childless. That's just my opinion. I just felt like the post in itself was childish and selfish. Tara?
Real quick before Tara says her point of view, I remember my husband and I having a conversation when our babies were brand new, and it was kind of similar to this situation. It didn't have anything to do with a ventilator, but it was one of those if you're, hanging on a cliff type of thing, and I only have the strength to pull up one. The question was posed to him: if he only had the strength to pull up me or the child, who would he pull up? And his decision to me, what he said to me is, we're all gonna go. I'm gonna pull until I can't pull no more, and either we all make it or we all don't. And to me, that's a decision. I mean, we all gonna be with the Lord. But his point was he wasn't making a decision of life over life. It was gonna be, we're gonna fight in this thing to the end. Being in the job profession that I have that same perspective when it comes to my family. I have family and then I have strangers. And when it comes to my children, I will literally lay down my life. If you say to me, your life or theirs, I will lay down my life. However, for a cousin, I'm a fight for it. I'm fighting for it. I can't just lay down my life for you. No. I cannot just lay down my life. I'm gonna need you to be fighting, and I'm gonna be fighting too. And we're gonna get up out of this thing. But I can't just lay down my life like that.
I can respect that.
That ain't what we're doing. So it's a difference
So I
between
know
laying down your life
and
and fighting.
in front of a bullet for me. I'm just saying. Now I know who's not jumping in front of a bullet for me. It's okay though. I love you.
I do wear a vest every day, and so we just hope they shoot me in the chest when I got my vest on. I mean, I'm a fight. I promise. I'm gonna give it my all. I'm not laying it.
No, I'm a fight because I come outside with scissors. So we know I'm a fight.
She actually did that, y'all. She actually did that. There was a problem at a job where she was working and I was working, and I'm in the capacity of police. She is in the capacity of librarian. There's a problem outside. So my sister is going to come with me with a pair of scissors. What are you doing? You say
Can't take her nowhere.
call for backup, please. Just call for backup. Thank you. But I love that you were there for me.
I called for backup and I still came outside because it wasn't going to go down like that.
Camper scissor hands. Too
That's
funny.
what I had on hand. I couldn't go to the trunk. So I had to grab the scissors.
Hey. By
She had
any
a pair of
means,
scissors and a stapler ready to kill somebody.
For me,
What the interesting thing is, fathers, I don't want to take up too much time, but we don't speak to the fact that a lot of fathers do have to make this decision, though.
mhm,
And it's not this case, but a lot of times in childbirth,
mhm,
fathers have been presented with, if they have to save one, doctors will ask, well, if we can only save one, who do you want us to try to. And I think that that's a difficult position. I
mhm,
can understand a little bit more of the guy's point of view that said he would save his wife, only because typically fathers don't get a chance to bond with a child in utero like a
mhm.
mother would. But I would think that he probably would have a lot of issues with his wife on the other side of that, you know, if she found out he made that decision. But
What would you do, Tara? Child or spouse?
That would be a hard decision. I wouldn't want to make the decision, but probably child. Like I said, child has more life to live. Child, or what situation would be the best at the time. But either way, it's bittersweet. So yeah, but I probably would do like the younger generation, let them live on. Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Tasha, you gave your point of view? She did? Okay. So right on to the next one, we're still talking about children. So my question is,
But
when is the right time to introduce your children in a new relationship? People have many different views. Some say out the gate to see how he or her treat my children. Some people say later to see if this is really going to last, vice versa. What's your opinion, Kim?
I don't believe in introducing my children, or I'm a momty. I have babies. I don't. We've had this conversation a lot with my sister and I. I just don't believe. I don't bring people around my family. You all know that. I don't believe in introducing anybody to my world unless it's a person that I've been vetted. I know that person. You see too many cases of too many times people bring just anybody around their family, and they running a sex ring with your child while you at work, and it's just too much going on. So I've always had the school of thought. I use a lot of discretion, and I'm really careful and protective of my family, hands down, children included. So I probably would not be one to rush into introducing somebody to my child. I know that in my previous relationship, he had a son or whatever the case may be, and it was a while before I was bought into his life. You want to see if it's going to be a permanent thing or a long-term thing before you have a revolving door of this
I
Uncle
agree.
Willie.
What about you, Crystal? When do you think is a good time, or how long would you say, or well, you have older boys too, so does it make a
I do.
factor difference in the
It
situation?
still matters to me. My circle
Okay.
is so important. I've been in a relationship where I was in a relationship with a man for a year and a half, and he hadn't met my children on purpose. They knew about him, and he knew about them, and I would have conversations, about them to him, but I just did not want to introduce a man into my children's lives that I wasn't sure was going to stay. That I didn't, like Camber said, I hadn't vetted properly enough. Because when my husband passed away, they were 10 and 11. Um, so they were young at that time.
Okay.
Now that they are older, they are 20 and 21. Even still, as grown men, I've never been the type of woman to just bring men around my child. I really think that it's a protective thing. Like Camber said, it really is a lot of, terrible things happening to children when moms are leaving their young children, or even, teenagers in the care of someone that they don't know has their best interest at heart. So I think you should wait. I think you should wait and know the full intention of the person and know something more about them than just their name. A lot of times I'll hear where a woman, she only knew his name and where he used to stay because he lived with her now. Uh, so, So, you know, she doesn't know anything about his past or his past relationships. She don't know his mama. You know, she don't know anything. And then you allow this man to be around your entire family. It's not the right thing. I think you should wait. I mean, as long as he knows you have children, and that's not kept a secret, because you should let them know that immediately. Because a man, you know, would decide if he wants to even be with a woman that's involved with children. But as far as meeting them, no, not for a while.
Okay. What about you, Tasha? When do you
I
think is
would
the
think
right
that it
time?
takes a long time. A good ways in on a relationship will you just bring somebody to your to meet your children. And I've heard of people like introducing their children to their new friend or uncle so and so. But children know, you know, they just can tell by your relationship with that person. So I would think that it takes a long time. I mean, I think you should be protective of your children, not only with, you know, relationships with men or romantic relationships, but with friends, anybody you bring around your child. Like we were saying earlier, it takes a village, and children are influenced, or at least they're impressioned by who you bring around them. So, not right away. Absolutely not.
Okay. And what about you, Tara? Tara, I can't hear you.
Yes, I think you should be hesitant about when you bring new people around your children, and that goes for like friends as well as someone you're dating. I raised a daughter, so I was real hesitant about who I brought around her. Um, so um, so yeah, I would wait and like you said, I would wait, and you have to watch a person's character and stuff to just make sure, hey, this is somebody I do want my child to be around, and I think that's something that shouldn't be rushed.
Okay.
Because yeah.
So the same thing with me. I don't think it should. Whenever that parent feels comfortable to introduce me to their children, or if I had kids, whenever I felt comfortable, it would have to be a defined relationship, serious relationship. But even just in simple dating, and you have children, I do want to know, hey, did you see your children? Did you feed them? You talk to them? You look at them? You do have to be an active role in their life, because I figure if you're not going to do it for them and their blood, it's going to
Yeah.
trickle down the line. So, not necessarily in a rush to meet them, but you do have to have a good relationship, a good rapport with them, and taking care of them. So that's just the key things for me.
We do have a comment
Okay.
from Latasha. She says, if you don't feel comfortable to make introductions between 3 to 6 months, then that person is not the right person for you or your child. Do y'all agree?
Yeah, yeah, that's a
I'm
good.
with you.
I think that's a good
Yeah.
length of time.
Yep. Yep. Hmm.
I will
Yeah.
say this, that 3 to 6 months, that does sound reasonable.
Hmm.
Um, However, for me, I
Hmm.
guess I'm very protective. I'm just very protective of my sons.
Hmm.
Um, and now they're at a certain age where it's just, you know, it's not even that important at that point in time. But I haven't yet discovered husband number two. So I guess
Okay.
when that steps in the door, then we'll see what it is. We'll
Right.
see if that 3 to 6 month timeline is what it is. But I didn't set a time um, in the past, and I probably won't set one for the future. But the 3 to 6 months, I think, is reasonable. I think that's a reasonable amount of time.
And I have a question to piggyback off of what she said. So let's say it's been the 3 to 6 months, and you still don't feel comfortable um, with introducing the child. Do you think later on after the 6 months you'll still feel comfortable? You'll feel comfortable at some point?
Maybe so. I mean, like I said, I don't set a time limit. So,
Mhm.
for me, I'm a workaholic. So,
Yeah.
3 to 6 months of dating might only really mean that we've been dating about a month and a half.
Okay.
You know, just because of my work schedule or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So, what equates to 3 to 6 months on an actual calendar may not actually be 3 to 6 months of me physically being able to be dating my partner. Um, so I think that's another part of why that time has been extended or was extended in the relationship, is that, you know, it just, you know, work or whatever the case may be may have prevented that. Like I said, my children now are not even children anymore. They're young men. They're 20 and 21. So, you know, they have their own lives, playing football and working and all that. So,
I'm turning
you
grown.
know,
One of them just
grown. They
4.
grown. I call them boys, but they grown. They're men.
Sarah, you got the next topic.
You said the next topic?
Yeah, who inspires you?
Who
What do you
inspires
guys think about that?
who inspires me? I would say my mama. Um, and I say that because my mom, she's a hustler. She has drive, and it has pushed me. She's always doing something, baking something, sewing something, selling something. She's gonna come up with a way to bring income in. She really inspires me. Just to tell a story, I remember I was going through grad school, and I called mom. I said I was working a job I didn't like, and I said, Mom, I want to go to grad school. And I said, school about to start next week. I got $300. She told me, well, I don't know how you gonna go to grad school, you know. So, but she found a way, and she gave me the money. And I went to grad school, and I gave her the money back. So she does inspire me. And then another time, I remember I was just like struggling with school and struggling with life and with everything was going on. I was it was in November. I was going to graduate from grad school in December, and I told my mom, I said, Mom, I'm finna quit school. I said it's just too much with life and working and child. I just was overwhelmed or whatever. And she's like, well, baby, are you failing? And I'm like, no, I'm passing. I got A's and B's. And then she just encouraged me. She just gave me a pep talk and encouraged me. And I graduated. So she definitely inspires me. She I guess she sees the star in me, and she'll push all of us. All our kids are different, and she knows what we need to push us and keep us grounded and keep us inspired to pursue our dreams. So yeah, I would say my mother. Another one would be my aunt Darlene. She's real calm, real low key, but Aunt Darlene she'll chime in little comments that make you think and make you regroup. So yeah, so I would definitely say those two ladies, and of course my Aunt Lydia as well. She's always gracious. So I guess the women in my family inspire me, mainly my mom. What about you, Cambry? Who inspires you?
Um, I get inspiration from a lot of different places. Of course, my mom, my parents, both of them are big sources of inspirations. I always say I'm so very, very grateful for the parents that I've had, the lessons and the sacrifices that they've made. I'm inspired by my older sister. I think she's amazing. She has 5 of my kids. Shout out to my baby mama. She kind of make it look easy, but I help her a lot. And so it is a little bit easier now. I'm just playing. But
She's a great surrogate, huh?
right. Look, her kids in my house. I'm just playing. Yeah, she's amazing. Like I said, she's a teacher. She's a hustler. She is a go-getter. So I really respect her hustle. I respect, her tenacity, to continue. Um, all of you ladies inspire me all the time. I like the fact that I'm very headstrong and opinionated, and I'm very brilliant. And so I have to be around other sharp individuals because iron sharpens iron. So
Amen.
this
Amen.
is me just being joking, but it does take very strong women to hang, and so you guys do a great job of pulling my cord and getting me together. And so thank you for that. So you guys inspire me a lot.
Okay.
That's really sweet. I'm inspired by you ladies as well. This is a different endeavor for us all, I think, but it's fun. I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about you girls, as far as royalty goes. I'm inspired by my parents. My brother, he's a hard worker. We get that from our parents. We all are workaholics. This is kind of one of those things that can be a negative, but if we want it, we're gonna go get it. Whatever the case may be. Um, but mostly, I'm inspired by someone who's way younger than me, and that's my goddaughter, Elena Wire. Dr. Elena Wire. She just graduated
Okay.
last Saturday. Even though she wasn't able to walk across the stage, she got her PharmD doctorate in a
Yeah,
concentration
she
in
got her rights.
psychology or something like that. I don't know. She got a BS or something else. She would have been graduating this week, getting her BS after her doctorate, which is funny. But she's always been a phenomenal student. She's an artist. She is very caring. She's an athlete. She just has so many great things going for her. And even when something has happened and she may be in a downtrodden situation, it doesn't take long for her to just literally pick herself up by her bootstraps and get back on it. Um, she's been in school and now that she's done, she has so many desires for her future. She looks for her family to be well, and so even anything she can do to make sure that we're okay. I want to say Lana is maybe 23, 24, 25, something like that. Um, she's very young, but she inspires me because even on her bad days, she keeps going to get it, and so I'm so proud of her. Tasha, what about you, hun? Who inspires you?
I'm inspired, family, friends. I'm inspired by my mom because in my decision making, my mom is very diplomatic and she can see things from a lot of different angles. Like I haven't thought of it that way. My dad, because he cuts through all the BS and gets straight to the point, down to the bottom line. He's very realistic. One of my brothers has the hustle mentality in the family, so he don't take excuses, just get up and do it. And I have another brother who is the exact opposite. He is very laid back and he will strike up a conversation from anybody from the CEO down to the janitor. He don't care. I would say my pastor and his wife inspire me. They are completely sold out for Christ. I would say in the work environment, bosses and coworkers that I've worked with inspire me on the job. My friends inspire me because without y'all, I wouldn't get out of the house. Share
Okay,
who
so
inspires you.
it's a few people that inspired me on different realms. So, of course, my mother inspired me. Her mom, my aunt Lydia, my aunt June, they inspire me just on the realm of really good, wholesome women, God fearing women, hardworking women that are just good and encouraging. Um, I would say school wise, I was initially inspired by my Aunt June. She was the only one on my dad's side of the family. She went to UT, book smart, brain smart, was a HNIC at her job. So during the summer, she drug us in the car in the hot summers, and we went up to her job and volunteered and did stuff. So when I saw her over stuff and working with people and speaking eloquently, so that triggered and inspired me on the school realm. On another realm, it would be my parents. So my mom did hair. My dad retired as a railroad engineer, but everybody knows he's a jack of all trades. I mean, he can do doors. We hung roofs during Christmas. We laid tile. We anything you name it, And but my
Leaf
parents inspired.
breaks.
Yes, breed brakes, whole motors, did carburetors, uh, head gaskets, anything, all on my mom's dinner table. But both of them collectively has inspired me, and not just because they're my parents, but because they taught us at a very young age, you work hard, you'll be rewarded. And then they taught us teamwork. Always stay with your sister, always stay with your brother. And that teamwork is what I rarely see today. Is more of tit for tat in couples and spouses, but that teamwork. I mean, they literally started from the bottom and went up, but they did it together. It wasn't always pretty, it didn't always sound good, it didn't always look good, but the end result, you know, it was done and it was done together, and that's strength. And so that poured onto us. Everybody that knows me knows I'm a daddy's girl, hands down. I will fight my mama about my dad. So,
Period.
and he just inspires me. The older I'm getting similar to him. Don't meet a stranger. Not scared to ask. I'm not as tacky, but not scared to ask a question. Or you know, how do you do this, or how does that work? Just the inquisitive mind that he has. He doesn't have. He did go to college, but he just has that. He just have it. I mean, very few people have it. He just have that niche. You, if he see you do it, or if he asks you how to do it, he will go get it done. You know, and we're always okay. He talking, but that same time his mind is working. And far as discipline, you know, it's just the normal strict stuff. Do what you're supposed to do. But as my dad got older, unless he's just talking to you, he says things in riddles and syllables, and it may take you a minute to do the Da Vinci Code and figure out what he said. But it's
Braille.
a whole read, baby. It's a whole read. Like, wait a minute. So I'll share, huh? No, but this is all enough. I'll share the last great gem that he told me a few years ago. It was Christmas, and he gifted us all designer watches, right? So he gifted us all, and we sitting at the Christmas table, and he just said, "Shara, the most valuable thing you have is time." And he looked around the room, and you're like, okay, yeah. But then when you know when how they say it, you get that when you get home, you're like, oh, okay. You know, so it was so much in there. You wasted time. You need to move on with time. Time ain't waiting for no man. So it was so much in that little riddle, you know, later on.
Subliminal
But the
messages.
best part of it is it's all in love, you know. So he may not always transpire everything in the exact way or the nicest way or eloquent way, but it's all done in love. So if everybody knows to know him and know his heart, it's all done in love. And I'm
GP.
My uncle is
boy, girl,
memorized
child.
and very nice
GP.
and very tactful. He is a sage,
He's a
baby.
girl
A sage.
dad.
Y'all just don't appreciate that wisdom in them 3-hour stories. And I just,
We're gonna send that wisdom your way, Cam. How about that? We're
Well,
gonna send that wisdom your way.
I'll tell you to call. But yes,
okay,
those
so
are
don't
my
send my
great. Oh, and
uncle.
one my other.
I'ma send your
Last did
uncle
I
that.
mention Aunt Lydia? She's my auntie mama. I'm sorry, she's my auntie mama. I cannot not mention her. She's my auntie mama. So mama and her always joke. She had her, but I'm her child. I mean, we like the same style. I like lace, sheer, everything she likes. We're just one and the same. So she's been my greatest inspiration. This is a young lady who birthed children at a very early age. She went on to school. She was a nurse. She was an HNIC at a nursing home. She retired there, and she's so selfless. She went on home to care for her ill father and then her mother and so on. But it's just many stories we could share with Aunt Lydia. She inspires you, and if anybody has a reason to quit, it would be her. And she just kept going. She keeps going. She's motivated. Nothing defeats her, and she's just a strong woman of God. But yes, those are everybody that inspires me.
Sherry, you mentioned that your dad is the jack of all trades, and I always say this coming generation, they don't know how to do nothing. I met a young man who never played basketball before. You don't know
Yeah,
how to fix a car. Like some things, I feel like my older brothers, they think they knew things, whether it was fixing things around the house. I would say to this current generation to pay attention to the people around you. Listen to the old folks
yeah,
and be
Sit at
inspired.
their
Choose
feet.
to be inspired.
Yes.
That's what I would
Sit at their
tell
feet.
to
yeah. The
great people.
message I would give to the future generation, yeah, you're the same. Learn something and do something. I mean, I thought quick story. I thought my dad was the meanest man in the world. Terry had a standard car, and I had an automatic, and he's like, "You need to learn standard." I'm like, yeah, yeah, I'll get around to it. I'm hot 20, whatever. So long story short, he took the keys from my car. He said, you'll get them back when you learn standard. Baby, I learned standard in record time. And his thing was she could get sick or emergency, you just need to know, so little things like that that but that lesson's with you. Now I'm a little rusty with it, but I can get out of first and float the rest of them gears. But the fact is that lesson goes a long way. So I can
Leave the
drive
transmission on
standard.
the ground, huh?
Yes, I can drive standard, change oil, rotate tires, everything. But the lesson I would give to the future generation is to there's intangibles that should follow you for discipline, knowing who you are, solid background. Those things should stay with you. It's okay to have fun, and that's the time you should have fun. But some things just don't change. Respect doesn't change. Discipline doesn't change. Knowing who you are don't change. So even with having fun, you still should be headed in a direction that's to elevate. Some people have no direction, no end in sight to whatever they're doing. So if you don't know, find something you like. I mean, it's a new world, new generation, tech's involved. Find your interest, find your niche. Everybody's not a doctor. Somebody got to take out the trash. Just find whatever your niche is, and learn all about that. That would be my message to the future generation. And just never forget God, and then know where you're going. Be true to yourself. Well, what about you, Cam? What message would you give to the future generation?
My thing is for the future generation, especially looking at the current times that we live in, is to not take life, family, or time for granted. I think that your youth, I think that there is a certain time to make mistakes, and you're gonna learn from your mistakes. You're gonna grow, but don't take it for granted that you'll
Yeah.
always have time to love on your family, to hug your mother, to hug your father, to appreciate your grandparents. That's one of the biggest things we talked about, leaning on that older generation. Let me tell you something, when they're gone, you're going to miss them and you can't get them back. And so if you have grandparents, if you have great aunts and uncles, if you have older people in your life, love on them, show them respect. This younger generation has this sense of entitlement, as in, you owe me. They feel like as if they're owed something before they should have to give something. I hear them on this, but that, I don't like that energy or this, and that. And I'm going, you realize that you are the negative energy? You are the toxicness?
Yes.
And so they haven't reached a level of maturity to do the inner work. At that age, I remember, just like we said, there was an age where I had the luxury of being self-centered and just taking it for granted. But the difference between then and now is so drastic. You do not have the luxury of being self-centered because things change. They're changing that quick. And so my thing is just to appreciate the now, make sure that you're present in the now, be less concerned with, TikToks and likes and what somebody else says about you. Have a sense of self and appreciate the resources and the people around you that love you, and that are pouring into you, because there may come a time when they're not there, and once they're gone, you can't get them back.
I think that's an excellent point, Cam. A lot of that is how I feel as well. I have conversations with my boys, and sometimes they're like, why is every situation got to be a lesson? Because I want to give you everything I have in me, because I don't know when this will be the last conversation I have with you. I think with our future generation, oftentimes they're the microwave generation. They want everything right now. They don't feel like they have to earn or work up towards anything that we owe them. Because of who they are. Who are you, baby? Your mom and them. They just feel like somebody owes them, and you don't. You have to work your way up to whatever it is you're looking to do. A lot of kids I see graduating. They're graduating. This is their 4th year in high school, and they still don't know what they want to do. You are about to walk across the stage, or during this COVID time, about to have a virtual graduation, and you still don't have a plan for your life. Shame on you. No one should have to tell you, young people, that you have to care about yourself. Okay. And you have to want something. If you want something for yourself, you actually have to go get it. You living in your mama house, enjoying her cool air and, playing on your iPhone 15,000, whatever number we own now with the iPhones and the iPads that you didn't pay for or earn. None of that was free. Someone had to go work to get it. And so a lot of times the generation of now don't see the hard work that's put in, or they're just, being lazy to it. So I encourage the next generation that's coming along, don't just sit back and expect somebody to hand you something. Go get it. If you want it, you have to earn it. You can't take it like that. You can't steal it, but go get it. You have smartphones and smart computers, and books are kind of being eliminated. As far as it's hard to find an encyclopedia set in somebody's house now, because you have Google. Well, you know what? That doesn't make sense that if I ask you a question and you tell me I don't know. How dare you? When you're holding a smart device in your hands. Don't let the smart device make you stupid. Let's go ahead and get it and know how to get it. Listen to your forefathers, listen to your aunties, your uncles, your mom, your dad, your grandparents, if you're fortunate to have them, and know that they're only giving you lessons of the trials that they had to walk through. They're only trying to stop you from having to go through the fire in order to get what you desire. Just know that it's an easier road that they're trying to lay for you, but you still have to walk that road. So good luck in the future generation. Pay attention, keep your eyes open, and you guys can do it.
And the message I would give the future generation is you're building your legacy as you go. So just be mindful of your character, what you're doing and how you're treating people. Respect should be universal. Like Crystal was saying, a lot of them feel like they're entitled to respect, but respect is earned, and it has to be given. So just be mindful of those things, and also to be appreciative of people who've paved the way before you, whether it's your parents, your grandparents, whoever it may be, teachers, whoever helped you along the way. That those are things that they didn't have to do, but they chose to do. So be appreciative of that. And just like you said, like I was saying, everything in your character, what you do, how you act, when you're how you treat people, all that is building your legacy. So just be mindful of the things you do. So when you leave your message for people in the future. And Tasha? Go ahead.
She shared hers.
Okay.
So we'll wrap up, and we need all our viewers to chime in. We have $1 million question. Okay, so everybody that's viewing, we need y'all to chime in. We'll each share our answer or what we think the answer is, but it's important that we get y'all take on it too. So the $1 million question is, when a Black person tells you that they are around the corner, how far are they out? How long would it take them to get there? Tell us what you think, Cam.
If I tell you that I am around the corner, then I typically am probably just getting out of the shower. I still have to oil and lotion and I normally do my hair beforehand. Probably my makeup if I'm going somewhere. Yeah, that's gonna be at least another hour and a half before I get there.
What about you, Tasha? How long do you think it take?
Normally, when I say if I say I'm around the corner, usually I am around the corner, but it's 3 more stops before I get to you. So it might not actually be the 5 minutes that it would take for me to make that corner. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was funny. We did poll this within both groups, and a lot of people were saying it just depends. They could just be sitting there, just jumping in the shower. Like you said, you got 2 stops on the way. Haven't even left the house yet. Krista, what do you think? How long? If you say you're around the
For me
corner,
personally, I am always late. I am going to be late to my own funeral. Listen, if you call me and say, Crystal, where are you? I'm probably just getting home from work. I ain't made it to the shower yet. But I'm gonna be right there. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna be right there. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. That's all I'm gonna say. There's no time limit. So order an appetizer and a drink.
Yes. What
For you
about you, T?
in a minute.
I'm sorry. Huh?
So I'm gonna just tell y'all that I'm so happy that Jilly and Erica was around the corner and they ain't get on at 6 o'clock, but they just getting on now. Praise Jesus.
If I tell you I'm around the corner, so I didn't took my bath. I got my
She not
makeup
gonna
on.
answer the phone to tell you, but go ahead.
I didn't took my bath. I got my makeup on, but I'm trying these other second pair of jeans on because the cleaners and shrunk the first pair. So I'm getting it together, and you know that. So I'm in the process, and I'll be in the car probably about 10 minutes from then. But hey, I'm with Crystal. We ain't always on time, but we gonna be there. Y'all know we on the way. Y'all know we
Yes,
on the
baby.
way.
You can't rush it. You can't rush
Yes,
perfection. I'm
you
on
can't
my
rush
way. I'm
it.
telling you.
Perfection.
Most times
So
when we're going somewhere, Cambry would tell me an hour beforehand. She knew I was gonna be late.
Great
So she's
job.
like, okay, we're getting there for 5, even though we're getting there for 6, you know.
yeah.
No, I don't just do that with you. I do that with you. I do that with Tara. Sharon, I can typically tell her about a half hour. Tasha about a half
I'm
hour.
usually well, it depends because I be running. So for me, if it's work,
Nikki is the day before because you know it's so short the next day.
Oh, was that yesterday we were supposed to be
if I tell you I'm around the corner, it depends. So there's a few things I just absolutely hate being late for, and that's work and that's church. You
Yeah.
get cussed out on the way to church by me being late. It just throws me off. And class.
Okay.
So if it's not those three priorities, I'm slow. And y'all know I got a lot of stuff in my empire, and it takes me a minute to get the self together. But you know, kudos to me because I'm fashionably late. You know, I am the Black Barbie, so you know I come in there fashionably late, so that cut a little time off for it. I'm slow in that room, but if it's work, school, or church, then I'm usually on time.
I'm typically not late, but being in this group of friends,
Mhm.
I take my time. Like I
'Cause
said,
you know.
because I know y'all. You know what I'm
That's
I
saying?
was
probably
early
So
today. I
better.
was on
unless
time
if
today.
it is something,
I was on
and
time
most times
today.
then I am organizing it. So if I'm organizing it, then I can kind of put everybody on the schedule that I need them to be on. I govern y'all accordingly. But you know, I know for a fact if I'm picking Crystal up, yeah, I'm gonna tell her I'm on my way because I need to give her that hour and a half so she can be ready when I actually get there.
Which doesn't even always happen. She still come in and curl my half my bed.
Um,
Sylvia Pursley, that's mommy. She shout out that she love us, ladies. We
Happy
love you
Mother's
too.
Day. I miss you. I love you.
Love you, Sylvia.
Tasha, did you share? Okay, so um, everybody shared. We have any more comments coming in?
let me check.
We just want to thank everybody for joining us. It's our second quarantine happy hour. G31, that's my big bro, said great show. He love us too. Um,
Hey, Chief.
so thank y'all for joining us, the Quarantine Happy Hour. Reach out to us. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Royalty Podcast, so you'll get the next notification because we'll be back really, really soon. If you are not a part of it, join the Facebook groups, Royalty Affirmations of a King, Royalty Presents Affirmations of a Queen. We're on Instagram under Affirmations of a King and Queen, both sites with good information where our mission statements all for empowering, uplifting. We have tragedy every day, so we really need to get some positive vibes. Only we push that, uplift Black women and Black men as well. We just thank y'all for being here and joining us. Once again, our motto is we all we got, but we're all we need. So we love y'all. We'll see y'all soon. Y'all can meet us over there with Jilly and Erica Badu. We're going to pour up a drink and then join them. Love you guys.
Bye.
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 Had a too nasty. Talk big shit, but my bank account bad shit. Hood, but I'm